There is a saying, ladies and gentlemen, my fellow business owners. It is a saying from Confucius that it is not the droplet of water that wears away the mighty stone, but it is its persistence. And today I'm going to tell you this, my fellow citizens and business owners and my customers. This video today is about FBI Director Christopher Wray says COVID pandemic most likely originated from Wuhan laboratory, and it is underwritten by the American National Standards Institute and the American National Crediting Board. ANSI took over complete control over ANAB in 2018. Yes, they are underwriters. ANSI-ANAB usually says that we only certify the system, we don't certify the product. Yet if you dig deep, a systematic failure causes also a quality issue, without a doubt, up to including loss of aircraft, like Lockheed Martin with the F-35. They are underwriters. We're going to show you how, where, and when, but the crux of the information that you want to see is in the description below this video. If we were to tell you everything and go from soup to nuts, the video will probably be over a half hour, maybe an hour long. So we're going to try to keep it short. 2015. Randy Doherty, the Vice President of ANAB, the Chairman of the IAF, and also the Principal on the IAF tax form, handed over leadership to this communist Chinese national, Zhao Jinwu, who was involved with our quality since 1994. At the time, he was the Chief Executive of the China National Accreditation Services located in Beijing, China. We moved up to 2017 when Wuhan, the Biolevel 4 lab, was cautioned not to play around with coronaviruses. You'll find that article down below in the description. If you don't, you can call me, 203-556-1493, or Daryl, D-A-R-Y-L, TQRS at yahoo.com. We see a candid picture of Zhao Jinwu in China, no other than Wuhan, China, giving out an ISO 17025 certification for laboratory accreditation. At the time, as I said, while he was standing there as the chief executive of the China National Accreditation Services in Beijing, he was also the chairman of the International Accreditation Forum, just representing those two organizations. ANSI-ANAB, and we're coming up very shortly. ANSI-ANAB, as said on many occasions, we have at least 3 articles on them saying that they are underwriters for the International Accreditation Forum incorporated in Delaware, and also the International Laboratory Accreditation Cooperation, which is located in Australia. We're going to continue. We have a Miss Pamela Sale. Now, Miss Pamela Sale basically confesses to the escape of the virus. We're also going to show you an article coming up as well that shows you that the United States was very much immersed in this development of the COVID virus, especially with a Mr. Charles Lieber at Harvard University, who was a specialist. He was the head of the chemistry department at Harvard, and also he was a specialist in both biological and electronic nanotechnology. He got awards from the IEEE and also NIH, who also sit on ANSI's board. And here she is, the woman of the hour. Pamela Sale, at the time, was the Vice President of Laboratory Accreditation for laboratory. And this is what she said. And I'm going to just add to her sentence, Biolevel 4 lab, phlebotomy lab, but I am not going to destroy any of it, just add to it. One of the issues is that there are no commonly agreed upon set of standards that forensic labs, Biolevel 4 labs, phlebotomy labs around the country or the world have to follow. Instead, there are informal guidelines that labs can choose to follow or not, which means you have a system that is out of control. Choose to follow or not to follow. That is not what quality is about. Quality is about following systems and standards. But if you look in the shorts of both Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson, who both sit on ANSI's board, okay, they skipped quality processes and standards to get the COVID injection out. And Pfizer had a recall of 15 million vials of COVID injection, and Johnson & Johnson had 60 million. So basically, she's telling the truth. That's where this paragraph comes in down below. Voluntary consensus standards fail. Since standards are meant to be uniform throughout a particular industry, whether it be laboratory, automotive, aerospace, electronics, medical, service industries, but they are not, as Ms. Sales illustrated in her deposition. We're going to go to this now. In 2017, again, when Zhao Jinwu was handing the certificate, there was a second workshop in Wuhan, China, between the United States and also China, the second time they're meeting in Wuhan. And the first mention there is of gain of function. And if you remember, Anthony Fauci, NIH, who also sits on ANSI, stated under deposition from Rand Paul that he had no idea and no clue about gain of function, yet we look at paperwork, and I think Wuhan got about a $3.8 million boost from our government via Anthony Fauci and NIH. But you see, gain of function. And the workshop was no less from May 17 to 19, 2017, 2 years before COVID broke. If you want the actual full-length document, we have it here. We will gladly email it to you, okay? I know these newspaper people are breaking the news, but they're not looking deeper. The deeper is that you find ANSI-ANAB, an American company, being the sole responsibility for being an underwriter for the lab in Wuhan, China. Yes, it is. And as I said, you will find those documents down below in the description. We'll even show you this. Here is Zhao Jinwu, that picture that I showed you, and it gives you the long-length article about the China National Accreditation Services. You'll also find at the back of this, at the bottom, you'll find, here it is, about the workshop. We discovered in 2018, in August, that yes, ANSI-ANAB were defined on this website as underwriters for both the International Accreditation Forum, incorporated in Delaware, and also the International Laboratory Accreditation Cooperation in Australia. So they're telling you that they are underwriters, which means they take all responsibility legally for what took place in Wuhan, China, or with Lockheed Martin having a landing gear failing on, most recently on an F-35. Or you have failures at Boeing. You have failures under an ANAB accreditation because they state that they are underwriters. After I opened this up in 2018, they took it down. This organization took it down. The company took it down. So we looked further and we found out in a contract in our government for 2018, it states that ANAB is an underwriter. ANAB is an underwriter for the International Accreditation Forum. That means they take all legal responsibility for anything that may happen within the application of what they're doing on this on this solicitation offer and award. They take all responsibility. The worst thing is, business owners, my fellow citizens, is during 2018, Zhao Jinwu, the communist national who is mandated by his country of origin, communist China, through China National Intelligence Law, Article number 7, to take your data. So basically, our government invited China in with open arms. An underwriter, for those people who don't know, an underwriter is any party that evaluates and assumes another party's risk for a fee. I would say, since Christopher Wray admitted to the fact that the Bio-Level 4 lab in Wuhan, China released the COVID virus, that the liability falls on ANSI-ANAB because Zhao Jinwu at the time was the CEO of IAF, and ANSI-ANAB does take full legal responsibility for that disposition certification for laboratory ISO 17025. Okay, they stated it, that they take full legal responsibility, okay? Department of Energy sits on ANSI's board. Between 2015 and 21, yes, they were watched over by communist China. Now we're going to bring the man of the hour. Let me just show you this. You also have our military is in jeopardy because look at this. The Department of Defense sits on ANSI's board, and they sat on them between 2015 and 21. And they did. Every one of those federal agencies that sat on ANSI or sit on ANSI, and those corporations get their data taken. And as my friend of 50 years would say, Rich, who's been involved with quality for a long, long time, he'd say, Daryl, it's not hacking, it's not cybersecurity, it's giving our data away. And as you can see, on a contract from our government, IAF giving our data away. So we're gonna also show you this. The FBI, Christopher Wray always gives speeches, okay, to Congress and all that and Senate about how we must maintain vigilance over China. Yet his agency has been watched over and also hacked by communist China from 2015 to 2021. Christopher Wray's agency was deeply immersed in communist China. Let's get him out here. Here's Christopher Wray. Christopher Wray states this under many depositions. He states that the whole of the Chinese society is a threat to the U.S. and the Americans must step up to defend themselves. Well, this is the way he looks when he's giving a deposition. This is where he looks when he goes into the office. A clown, because that's exactly it. Between him and the Department of Energy, they were both watched over and controlled over communist China between 2015 and 2021. I'm going to leave it here. And as I said, this video is only part and parcel. The rest of the data is down below, and you will find it. And again, this video is about FBI Director Christopher Wray says COVID pandemic most likely originated from Wuhan, China lab, underwritten by the American National Standards Institute and ANAB, ANSI and ANAB. My telephone number is 203-556-1493 or Daryl, Daryl, TQRS at yahoo.com. The news reporters out there should have their ass handed to them because they have not dug deep enough. They're only scratching the surface. They will find out that we have been responsible as well as China, the United States, NIH, CDC. They have a branch over. They have branches over in China. They also sit on ANSI's board. Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson sit on ANSI's board. The FDA, USDA, all of them, FBI, FTC, they all sit on ANSI's board, and all of them have gotten their data taken by China. I thank you.